And so it is written that the Guardians of Ga'Hool's most bitter enemies, the Pure Ones, will rise again under new leadership, and that leader is none other than the Grand Duke from Rockadoodle. So I decided to call upon the world's most famous owls, Al, Professor Al, the Great Owl, and Al Jolson. Now before you guys start your mission, are there any questions?
I say, I have a question. Why don't you go after him? We all know the Grand Duke hates bright lights.
Well, the thing is, I actually don't know where their hideout is, plus I got a video to do. And you're right, that's why I gave each of you a flashlight. So apparently this war should be over in like 3 seconds. Either way, it's awesome to see my childhood come together as a team. The Legend of the Guardian series is based on the books by Catherine Lascany. And I'll say this right now, I have no knowledge of the books or seen this movie in theaters. But the funny thing is, what makes this film interesting is that it was directed by Zack Snyder, which he's known for his reputation for polarizing audiences and critics. Some of his works are considered good, like 300 and Dawn of the Dead, but then they go down the slippery slope with some of the DC Extended Universe movies he directed. But is he good with animation than he is with superheroes? Well, I'm going to find out. Welcome to another episode of the Wonder Reviews. Let's soar through the air. This is Legend of the Guardians, the Owls of Ga'Hoole. So my first viewing of this movie, all I have to say is, meh. One problem with this movie is that it's not as fully welcome to newcomers about the whole series. The story centers around an owlet named Soren who loves telling stories about the Guardians and believing that they are real, but he and his brother get caught by some other owls from a society called the Pure Ones. They enslave the two owls along with the others until Soren and a buddy named Gylfi escapes, and they're on a mission to find the Guardians and call for help to rescue the owlets and Soren's brother. On the surface, it doesn't feel like anything special. It follows the same generic story and trope you would find in any media, like the dreamer that wants to see the Guardians and become one, the jealous brother that wants to be better than Soren, and the teacher that teaches him on how to become a hero. But what makes this movie interesting than generic is, well, the Legend of the Guardians. But it can still have some pros and cons. On one side, it does explain the concepts of the Guardians and the Pure Ones, explain the characters' roles and connections, and there are some good educational values regarding the owls in general. On the other hand though, it can confuse people when they're trying to process their brain and put all the pieces together to fully understand what is going on and why are they all doing this. And that includes me because I had a hard time to completely comprehend these roles. All I can understand is that these characters just talk about nothing but expositions.
Well, this is what it looks like when you've actually fought in battle. It's not glorious, it's not beautiful, it's not even heroic. It's merely doing what's right.
I'm not saying it's hard to follow, you just need to rewind the movie and try to remember these plot elements. If the movie would just show a few more flashbacks, it would probably make the movie clearer. It has the right amount of elements to make a plot, but they don't seem to form a coherent story. Okay, so the plot is kinda hard to follow, but does it affect the characters? Well, some of them. But the cast is more of a mixed bag. Some of these characters share a common trope you would find in any movie. Soren is the dreamer, Gylfi is Soren's best friend, and Digger and Twilight are the comic reliefs. The problem with these heroes is that there's nothing interesting about them. The movie doesn't tell us more about Soren other than he wants to see the Guardians and become one. Gylfi does nothing here. The only members that are a bit enjoyable are the comic reliefs because I have to admit I got a few chuckles from them and Twilight is pretty funny. There is also Clud, Soren's brother that got kidnapped by the Pure Ones but then he turned himself to the dark side. He goes through the old cliche where the brother gets jealous and he wants to be better than him. Yeah, they tried to give him a transformation where he trains with the villains to join them to make him look intimidating, but it's not as effective since they capture him against his own free will. There's, Obi-Wan Kenobi, the teacher owl, who is actually pretty cool because we do learn about his connections with the Guardians and the battle between the Pure Ones. The two characters that I immediately felt interested in are the villains. Naira and Melbeek are the best parts of the movie because they are intimidating, they have great voice actors, and they will kill anyone that stands against them. There will be some characters that you don't care about, but you will be thankful that there are some characters worth remembering. Now here's an element that really stands out in the movie, the animation. This was done by Village Roadshow Pictures, the same people behind the Happy Feet movies, and it definitely shows their signatures with the character designs. The designs of the owls are incredible. They're computer animated, but they do look like actual owls. And that includes some of the other animal designs like the bats, crows, the echidna, and the rest. Even the character animation is realistic. The owls do feel like they're actually soaring, which makes the flying scenes really nice to look at. And no matter where they fly to, the backgrounds are extravaganza to look at, from Ga'Hoole to the Pure Ones' fortress. And it's not just the flying scenes. The movie incorporates plenty of action scenes, and they are enjoyable to look at because they have some creative scenarios on how the characters fly and fly out their enemies. The only thing that's really distracting and feels like a mix is the use of slow motion. There are some good use for it, like how Soren and his friends fly through a stormy weather and a fire hazard. That they did great! It pays close attention to details on the water, fire, and lightning. But whenever someone takes the first attack, dodges them, or make a getaway, it just gets repetitive fast. If there is anything worth remembering in the movie, it's hands down the animation. Legend of the Guardians, The Owls of Ga'Hoole is not really the best I've seen, with some forgettable characters and a convoluted storyline, but it is okay with some nice animation, great flying scenes, and a few interesting characters. If you're looking for an epic movie with a lot of great visuals and fighting scenes and you just don't care about story, then you might like this. I keep hearing that there might be a sequel, and I know it's growing a bit of a fan base, but for me, I won't be among that group, and I'm not enthusiastic for more owl stories. But whatever it is, I'm glad it has a cult following for those who enjoy this. Soar through the air and share your personal opinions. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm going to the 100 Acre Woods and listen to Owl's Family Tree. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed this, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe me for a new review and other project every week. I'll see you soon.